Hey, I'm Julia Copeland. I am the Vice President of Program for League of Women Voters of Collin County, which means I get to put together forums like this, among other things. So thank you for being here. I'm going to start out with just a little bit of information about the League. Our mission is empowering voters and defending democracy. And we envision a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. And our values include believing in the power of the people to create a more perfect democracy. And so on here are some of the initiatives that we use to increase voter outreach, including vote411.org, speaker bureau, candidate forums. All of the things that are listed up here are things that we do as a league on the county level. We also have programs throughout the year through socializing and civics. So you will see those too on the website, where we have speakers come in and talk about all kinds of topics. So we would love to have you at those as well. We are a nonpartisan organization, which means that we never endorse a candidate or a party. That doesn't mean we're not political. We have positions on issues rather than on candidates or parties. Our focus has been and will continue to be on issues that matter to our communities, ensuring fair elections, protecting voting rights, and strengthening democratic institutions. We also have a strong belief in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And discrimination and harassment of any kind is not accepted within the League, including but not limited to race, socioeconomic status, age, ability status, religion, sexual orientation, national origin, gender identity, or marital status. And even though we are still called the League of Women Voters, which is a tribute to the original suffragettes, everyone is welcome in the League. Doesn't matter what your gender identity is. We respect the values and richness of our community and our members. So that's just to give you a little idea of what the League is all about. Today we're talking specifically about food security or insecurity in our community. And I think most of us probably got up this morning and had a good breakfast, maybe had lunch before coming over here. We have snacks available, but that is not a given for a lot of people in our community. And so our speakers today are going to talk about their organizations and what they do to try to meet the challenges of feeding those who are hungry in our community. So I will briefly introduce each one before they speak. After they have all made their presentations, then we'll open it up for a Q&A. So our first speaker this afternoon is Clarissa Clark. She is the Government Relations Officer for the North Texas Food Bank. And I know all of us have heard of North Texas Food Bank. There are some handouts around the room about what their most pressing needs are, if you want to take a look at those. Before working at the food bank, Clarissa was the Director of Public Policy and Engagement at the Alzheimer's Association in Dallas. She has also worked for 2 U.S. senators and a state senator. Clarissa is a Dallas native. So I'm going to turn this over to you. Business out of your way.
Thank you so much. Sure. Our house is in Plano, just off the bush, and we hear all the time. People in Collin County don't think there's a need for food. that there are hungry people. Okay. Thank you so much. So, the North Texas Food Bank, can you all hear me pretty well? Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. The North Texas Food Bank is a nonprofit hunger relief organization that distributes food donated and purchased directly through direct programs and a network of nearly 500 food pantries and partners in our 12-county service area. You know, we believe no one deserves to be hungry. Those we serve are at the heart of everything we do. So we were founded in 1982 by Joe Curtis, Catherine Walt Hall, Lorraine Griffin Kirchner, and Liz Minyard. They started the food bank. You might recognize the Minyard name. She was in the grocery business, her family. They started by rescuing surplus food and grocery products from retailers. And in their first year, they distributed 400,000 pounds of food. Now, 40 years later, we're distributing more than 2 million meals a week. And last fiscal year, we distributed over 116 million physical meals. Since 2018, we've been at the Plano location where we moved. We have a Southern Dallas hub, but we moved to Plano because it's more central to our 12 counties, which you'll see the map in a few minutes. Okay, why we do it? So we want to talk about who is hungry in North Texas. In short, it could be anybody. You may have thought it was, like I said, we hear this a lot in Collin County. Nobody needs food in Collin County, but there are people, and Josh will tell you in a minute. It may have once been true, but we know the cost of living has risen, and so there's a lot of people that are vulnerable. It exists in every zip code, and it is where you may least expect it, at college campuses, corporate offices, child care centers, and communities. It could be, a neighbor, a coworker, or a child that goes to school with one of your children. We know, like I said, the higher cost of living, that people are having to make tough choices. They have to pay their rent and utilities. So the first thing they can, kind of cut out of their budget is food. So there's the map of our service area. There's the Tarrant Area County Food Bank does those counties going west. So 16.1% of the population in these 12 counties are food insecure. Our service area has the 8th most food insecure people in the United States. If you put us together with Tarrant area, all those counties, the Metroplex is number 3 in food insecurity in the United States, behind New York and Los Angeles. Texas is number 1 in food insecurity in the U.S., something that we don't want to be. So one in 5 children, 1 in 5 children in North Texas and 1 in 6 adults, or over 774,000 people, do not know where their next meal will come from. That number, just to give you a visualization, would fill AT&T Stadium, where the Cowboys play, 9 times, which is the equivalent of selling out every home game. That's a lot of people. Like I said, we know that hunger exists in every zip code. About 61% of the food insecure population is in Dallas County, but it's followed by Collin County, which is 20% of the population is food insecure. But we also, you can see, we go out into a lot of rural counties, and there is also food insecurity out in those rural counties, and access to food. If you look at like Navarro County in the southern part, the food insecurity rate there is over 19%. And what we're seeing, again, with this persistent inflation, high cost of living, having a job doesn't mean that you can't be hungry. Josh, who you will meet in a minute, is with the Storehouse 7 Loaves Pantry, and they're one of our partners that we deliver food to. And when the government shutdown happened last fall, we were determining how to best support our neighbors impacted by the shutdown. If you remember, SNAP payments were delayed, which made it even more crucial. I mean, we were very nervous. We emptied our warehouse of food, and we had to order more. And we went to the Storehouse, was one of the first we contacted our partners, and they worked with us to quickly put together special distributions for neighbors impacted by the missing federal paychecks and delayed SNAP benefits. So that's what we do. We give them as much food as we can, especially when it's a high bit of need. So childhood hunger. What you'll find is most of the people that are on SNAP. Does everybody know what SNAP is? Just want to supplement the old name or new name for food stamps. Most of the people on that are either seniors, disabled, or children, if you look at the total population. So childhood hunger in North Texas, like I said, is 1 in 5. We do have some direct programs for children. It's the new Nourish the Future child programs. We do a food for kids and school pantry programs. There's some of the public schools and they have a little closet or something where they have food. And we distribute to schools, social service programs in our area that are able to distribute this to the kids. In our last fiscal year, which ends at the end of June, we provided 41 million meals to kids in North Texas through these programs. We have 255 schools participating in Food for Kids and 43 school pantry sites, 19 of which are college campuses. Okay, I mentioned seniors. Texas has the most number of seniors facing hunger than any other state. Another thing we're number one in that we don't want to be. So it's likely, because everybody's obviously getting older, it's going to be a problem for time to come. In the last year, we provided access to 14 million meals for seniors through a dedicated senior program that is from the federal government. It's called CSFP, stupid government name. It's basically Commodity Supplemental Food Program. Now everyone's like, what is that? But we call them senior boxes. So we have these sites. We have 59 distribution sites where people can pick up a box of food for it lasts a month, shelf-stable food, and then they also get a bag of produce. And then we even have like Delta County, which is very rural. A lot of seniors can't get out, that kind of thing. DoorDash, we've had a funder donate to us so we can have DoorDash delivered to those in those rural areas, which has been great. So how are we meeting the need? So just a little bit about what a food bank does, because I didn't really know. I've been with the food bank, it'll be 3 years in August, and it's been a real education. So we secure food donations from national food and grocery manufacturers, retailers, farms, food drives, and government agencies and other organizations. We then store and distribute it to our frontline agencies like the storehouse. Our warehouse, if you haven't ever been up, and you're welcome to come visit, is over 200,000 square feet. You may know when you go to the state fair in the fall, if you bring, I can't remember, a certain number of can of foods, you get a discount to come into the fair, and all those come to the food bank. And we also have volunteers. We couldn't do it without our volunteers because they have to sort through it all, you know, put all the vegetables together, the fruit, canned fruits together to be distributed. So all that comes out. So 94% of our food that we collect goes to our 500 partner agencies in the 12 counties. The other is the direct to the seniors and to the children, but the majority goes out to our agency partners. So by doing this, you know, people don't have to just come to the food bank. We can distribute the healthy food to our partners in their neighborhoods. And different communities have different needs, you know, and storehouses, he's going to tell you how they do it, so they can tailor programs to the needs in their community. So we want to be taken where the neighbors are, to help them where they are. We also have a social services team who can help people sign up for SNAP. The SNAP application is 23 pages long, and you know, everything with the government is complicated. And we have a call center. They can even call, and our navigator will put all the information in online, make sure it's agency ready, everything's in there they need, tell them what they're going to need for their appointment, and then give them resources of where they can find food in the meantime. So that's a service that we've been providing. Okay, here's a little more information about how we operate and the data from the last fiscal year. Like I said, North Texas community is so generous. I mean, you can see the amount we get from individuals and corporations and foundations. The government, that 19 and 20% is, we get food from the USDA, but it's counted as money, you know, but that's where that is. We don't get like direct money. Like I said, during that shutdown when the SNAP was delayed, one Monday morning, our staff came in and there were like 50 Instacart drivers at our donation door. And they had like, there's a Target, there's a bunch of grocery stores around us, and I guess they said the Target, the manager was a little bit annoyed because people were ordering and having it sent to us for people, and they're like, their baby formula shelves were empty. So, but it was amazing. We just had these boxes and boxes and boxes of food, and Amazon. So the community really steps up when it's needed, and we are grateful for that. So this is how we distribute, again, the resources, and our operations. We like to be lean, and 94% of our resources go directly toward fulfilling our mission. We got 4% goes to fundraising administration and 2% to management. Okay, so how do we determine where and how much food we distribute? Feeding America is a national organization made up of all the member food banks, of which we are a member. And they collect data from various sources, including the USDA, and they produce an annual survey called Map the Meal Gap. And that guides us, it goes down to the zip code, it can go by congressional district of where the needs are. So we want to make sure we're efficient in getting it where it's going to be needed. So we've been filling the gap. You can see in the slide, we're serving now more, we have these last few years, than we did even during the pandemic. So, and it's double than prior to that. So it's been a lot, and we are also having to purchase more food than we have in the past. Just certain things, proteins, that kind of thing, that maybe don't get donated as much. So we have amazing people that really know how to do that data. And we recognize that there's more than food to solve hunger. So we know that hunger and poverty are linked, which is why we must eliminate the barriers to food security as we endeavor to close the hunger gap. So we support, like, our agency partners and with grants and different things to help them so they can distribute food in the communities. So how you can help: donate food or funds. So there's a handout that shows like the most needed things. We have an Amazon wish list, or you can go on our website and see lists of the most needed things. People host food drives, different things, anything helps. Also volunteering, we really couldn't do it without our volunteers. We would have to have way too many staff, again, to sort all that food. So we have volunteer shifts Tuesday through Saturday, twice a day, 9 a.m. and at noon. It's like a hour and a half. It's actually a lot of fun. They play music, and you sort the food and everything. We get a lot of corporate partners. We get people that do birthday parties there. I mean, it's kind of a fun thing, and you're really, really helping us. So it's great. And then the other thing is to advocate, to use your voice. That's me. I do the government relations. So we may have an advocacy update newsletter that I advocate for the federal nutrition programs that help the people like SNAP. We also, again, with the USDA foods, that we want to keep getting that has been, everything's really kind of been cut in the last year or so, but we're still trying to. There was a program for local farmers that we were doing. It was getting within like 300 miles, and that was cut, but now it's been put back in the Farm Bill. So we're excited about that. So that's really, I work with our legislators, state and federal, to help our neighbors in need. So here's a QR code that goes to our website, all our social media sites, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks for all the good information, Clarissa. Now we are going to hear from Josh Stevens. He is with the Storehouse Community Center and joined that in August 2022, stepping in to the Director of 7 Loaves role, where he has continued to improve upon the food pantry distribution model established following the COVID-19 pandemic. Are we good on this? Okay. Before transitioning into nonprofit leadership, Josh built a distinguished career in sports medicine and athletic training, serving in respected organizations such as Scottish Rite Hospital, SMU Football, and the Dallas Cowboys. Guided by a deep and grounded faith, Josh brings empathy, encouragement, and a people centered approach to his work. Values that align closely with the storehouse's mission of serving neighbors with dignity and compassion. His leadership emphasizes both operational excellence and a heart for community. Josh and his wife Amanda live in Dallas with their two sons, Brady and Tucker, and outside of work, he enjoys attending concerts and exploring new music. So please welcome Josh Stevens.
Perfect. Okay, can you guys hear me? Awesome. All right. Thank you guys for having us here today. Oh, you had me there. Not really. Hold on. So, like I said, I'm Josh Stevens. I'm with the Storehouse Community Center. We are a nonprofit. We're on 501c3. We are currently have two buildings that we operate out of. We were started by St. Andrew Methodist Church. If you guys know where that is, on Plano Parkway, close to the tollway. So we still operate our food pantry out of there. I'll go into a little bit more detail about some of the other our other location as well. But we're our own 501c3. We were founded by the previous head pastor at St. Andrew by his wife, Sharon Hasley, in 2009. But we are a non-sectarian organization, meaning that we serve all faiths. We serve with all faiths. There is no faith requirement in order to either serve with us and or receive food from us. All right. Our mission is to feed, clothe, and care for neighbors in one community. And you see our vision is to change the lives of 20% of the folks that we serve. So we hope that for every 10 folks that meet us in the food line, that we can walk alongside those neighbors and get two of those neighbors into transformations where they no longer need our programs. Like Clarissa mentioned earlier, food insecurity is a symptom of poverty, right? And so there's more to that, and we are super thankful for our partnership with North Texas Food Bank. Not only do they provide the majority of the food that we're able to get into the hands of our neighbors, but they support us in what we call wraparound programs to help our neighbors rise up out of poverty. All right, so I said we're located in Collin County, but we're right there basically at the tollway and George Bush. In that area, you'll see kind of in the bottom there, 75287 is actually Dallas County, but it's right there just south of George Bush and the tollway. 11% of the folks that live in that zip code live below the poverty line. And so that's what we're seeing. In our food pantry, a lot of what we see, I stand out and I visit with the neighbors. She mentioned in my bio that we've kind of modified our model after COVID-19. Our space is small at St. Andrew, and because of that, we serve outside. So I'm out there visiting with neighbors and whatnot. The majority of the neighbors that come through our parking lot to receive food are employed. They're just underemployed. Or they have life circumstances that they're having to send their money elsewhere in order to pay bills, and they need help meeting their food needs, right? And so, I mean, like Clarissa said, if you filled up with gas or you bought groceries lately, you know that it costs a lot more now than it did 10 years ago, right? So, so we have a lot of folks that need support. All right. So we serve 1,200 families each week at the Storehouse Community Center. We have 4 programs, 4 pillars that kind of make that up. 7 Loaves Food Pantry is what I'm the director of. We're serving families. They get a cart of food that's 75 to 90 pounds of food per week. We also, the way that we have our process set up, everybody that comes on campus to receive food will visit with several members of our team. Some of them are just saying hello and welcoming them. Some of them are checking to make sure that they have an appointment that day. And then a Project Hope is a part of that. So we have neighbor care coordinator at every distribution that we have that can engage with the neighbors and talk to them and see what else is going on in their world, where else they're struggling, and let them know about our other programs that we have, whether that's the clothing closet, the academy, And then our Project Hope coordinator also has resources from other nonprofits to help, whether that's help getting kids into school and figuring out what that process looks like, or whether it's help with medical care or furniture and things like that. So we can help coordinate that with neighbors. Our clothing closet is in our new building. So we just purchased a building in 24 and started serving clothing out of there this last summer. It's amazing, or I guess it was September. It's beautiful. It's an amazing experience for our neighbors. Our neighbors go check in. It's bright and light, and the clothing racks are nice and clean. It's like they're going shopping at the Gap. So they have a very wonderful experience where they have dignity in picking out their clothes. It's a beautiful thing. All right. So so part of the academy is language, job, and life skills, right? So we are working with our neighbors to make sure they have what they need to gain living wages jobs. And for us, that's $18 to $20 an hour, health benefits, PTO, right? We're all just one sickness away from needing help. So we want to make sure that if we're helping neighbors get into employment, we want the employment to be something that is actually sustainable, right? So part of the academy is that ESL classes, helping neighbors that have come from other countries to learn English. It's life skills. It's navigating the healthcare system, the school system. You know, how to pay rent, how to save for a house. You know, all these things that are different here than they are in different countries. And then also holistic work environment. So we want language, job, life skills, and we want them to be able to sustain work and advance in work. We don't want people just to have a job, because just a job at minimum wage doesn't go very far. The academy is where the transformation happens, right? So it's the language skills, it's the job skills, it's the life skills, and then we have job partnerships and work well, right? So I've mentioned the other three, the language and job and life skills. We have partnerships with several companies that hire neighbors from us that have shown the dedication, that they're willing to come through our academy, show up, learn, better themselves, and then we help them prepare for interviews and then for eventual employment with some job partners. Some of those job partners are Hilti, which they make and manufacture tools, Lux Ice, Nebraska Furniture Mart, and places like that. We have this Work Well program, right? So we all know what it's like to work in the United States. We have a lot of neighbors that come from other places. Has anybody ever traveled overseas, right? If you've traveled overseas, not all cultures are the same as they are here. So people come here and they have a work culture at home that maybe is a little bit different. It's more relaxed, or they have time where they can leave in the middle of the day, or the start time is anywhere between 8:30 and 10 o'clock. So it's getting our neighbors to understand what it takes to gain employment here, to gain good employment here, be a good employee, and be able to continue to grow in those jobs. This is Jose and Anna Salazar. So I want to tell you a couple of stories. I'm going to start with a story. Before I get to Jose and Anna's story, I want to talk to you about a story that we had this week at the food pantry, right? We are all, like I said, one sickness, one illness, one unexpected accident away from needing help, right? We had a neighbor this week, that we met in the food line. It was her first time receiving food. One of our volunteers walked all the groceries to her car, and the woman broke down at the car. And she said, sorry, I might get a little emotional. She said, I volunteered in the food pantry a few years back with my daughter through NCL. She's like, but now I have two daughters in college. I'm paying for 2 colleges. My kids don't know I'm here, but my money has to go there for them to succeed. So I needed help. So, like I said, and she hasn't had a traumatic thing happen in her life. She's just going through being a parent. Has 2 kids in college. It's expensive. Times are hard. And so she was a volunteer, and now she's receiving help, but she was super thankful, and we served her with dignity and love and care. And then you have stories like Jose and Anna here. Jose came to us in 22 needing food. He had come with his family from Venezuela. He was an accountant back home, but political circumstances there were dire, and so they came here. He didn't speak English. He came for food. He met Nancy in our Project Hope tent in the parking lot he was coming in for food, and she said, "Hey, we have this program starting up called the Academy with ESL classes." So Jose enrolled. He was dedicated. He worked his way up through all the programs there. And then he applied for a job apprenticeship with Hilti and went through our Workwell program. Well, when he was working at Hilti, they found out that he was an accountant. One of the job skills programs in the academy was he took some classes at Collin College where they worked with him on some of the language around accounting clerk terms that he knew from his job being an accountant, but it's a little bit different language here, right? So they coached him up on that. He learned those things. While he was at Hilti, they saw his skill set, and now he works in the accounting department at Hilti, right? He met us in the food line in 22. In 25, he's now working in a job that he's trained for. That is his passion here in America. And so Jose is an amazing story. We also, so you'll see through our job partnerships here, this is Delari. She's one of our coaches that works with Hilti and whatnot. And now he's giving back. He's giving back and serving in the food pantry when he can to help neighbors because he was helped so much. It's a really cool story. So the academy has grown and grown and grown. It started in 22, like I said. There was about 50 neighbors that went through that initial pilot. We just had an academy graduation in the first weekend of May this year. 257 neighbors graduated from one class to another out of the program or to a job certificate. 257 celebrated that. It was amazing. There was a woman that got up and spoke. She came to us like Jose in 22, didn't speak any English. She stood up in front of a full sanctuary at St. Andrews. If you've ever been in there, it's big. I mean, there were hundreds of people in there. She stood up and gave a 10-minute long speech about her life and her progress through the storehouse in amazing English. She did better than I'm doing right now. I can tell you that. It was awesome. And so it's the work that the academy is doing is great. And none of this would be possible if it hadn't have been for the North Texas Food Bank, for us first giving food, meeting people where they are in their immediate need. But like Clarissa said, that if folks need food, it's a symptom. So we're growing. I said that we're serving 1,200 families a week. Our spot, we have a food pantry at St. Andrew, but we use a lot of the classrooms on Saturdays for ESL that are in the church. And so we needed our own space. And so 25, end of 24, we purchased a building in northeast kind of Carrollton. So basically diagonally across from where we are, about 4 or 5 minutes from us. That's where our clothing closet is. We're eventually going to have ESL classes there. We will always serve food on the campus of St. Andrew where we started, but we're growing at the Christensen Family Campus as well. And so we're in the process of building all of that out because we've seen tremendous growth over the last, basically since COVID, really. And so this is a little bit about the building that we're at. It's kind of, so like I said, we say that QR code will take you to our website where you can find out about donations, you can find out about volunteering, you can find all of our socials. You can help us the same way that Clarissa said. All of those things, speaking out, tagging us in posts, things like that are super helpful. But we're all in this thing together, right? Like we're one community, and we're only as good as a community as the folks that make us up. And so we're serving with one another. You never know when you're going to be in need, and so I just appreciate you guys allowing us to come out and visit with y'all. So thank you very much.
I'm sorry I wasn't able to get
That's all right. It's okay.
Our final speaker today is Asma Muhammad Ali. Asma is an active volunteer with EPIC Social Services Committee and a former software engineer. She has been a Plano resident for the past 10 years and is passionate about helping others and supporting community welfare initiatives. And Asma has said she's pleased to be a part of this event, and we are very pleased to have her. So please welcome Asma.
Check was if I'm visible above this. You can all see me, right? Yeah. So yes. As you all know, most of you should already be knowing EPIC, the East Plano Islamic Center. We are a nonprofit organization. We try to help the community as best as possible. And our food initiative started with COVID. As soon as the COVID hit, there was a severe rise in the need of, how when there is a health crisis, it also creates a food access crisis. When income stopped, food insecurity rose immediately, and food pantries became one of the fastest response systems supporting families through that gap. So we quickly had to formulate something. So we started selling, okay, we want to make it easy. We want everybody to be able to access food, and we're not going to be able to um, actually have to communicate with them. So we thought they could just drive, like a drive-through food pantry. So all they had to do is drive up to our facility, and we would load the food box with, let me tell you, we have lentils, pasta, mixed vegetables, garbanzo bean, cookies, cereal, flour, rice, noodles, fruit cocktail, peanut butter, mashed potatoes, oil, and sugar. So we quickly put all of these in a box, and we started loading their cars. Whoever came, no barriers, no questions asked. We wanted everybody to have food. So that was the only motive that we had behind this. So we started loading the cars, and we have not stopped since. Every week, every single week, Saturdays, we still load up to maybe 200 to 400 boxes per week. And the need has risen since. Uh, COVID is almost gone, almost. New things are coming up, but we should, hopefully it should reduce, we thought, but not exactly. The need is always rising, and without our volunteers, of course, we are not able to achieve this, and without the donations, we are not going to be able to achieve this, and that's exactly how we did this. So we have a bunch of volunteers packing every week. As soon as we send out the food, 200, 300 boxes, and then we start packing for the next week. So we pack this, and we keep doing this. And apart from this, there are also other things that we try to do. Um, the other one that we have done so far is and this has also been 5 years now, Feed Children Everywhere program. So this is a huge program where we pack about 100,000 meals. We work with other faith communities, and we all work towards this for one whole year. And one day we pack 100,000 meals, and we give it out to other organizations, and we try to distribute that way. And we are also part of POWS, Plano Overnight Warming Shelter. We are very proud to be a part of that. We are Team 3. We take turns. There are about 7 teams in it, and we are one of the teams who work with the city, and we provide shelter and food for people in need during really bad weather. So that's one another thing that we do. And then we also do, I'm sure you all remember 2 years ago, we had a severe weather, and people couldn't get out of the house at all. So immediately our volunteer team comes up, let's cook food. Let's cook food. And it was pretty dangerous driving outside, but we still took some chances. We drove around. We were able to give food to the people in need. And and again, it's been 4 or 5 years, bad weather, we still do it, we continue to do it, and we are hoping to also partner with our uh, other team here. And the one another thing that we are still trying to come up in the nearest future is a static food pantry, where it'll be like a soup kitchen. You can go take whatever food or order food, and of course it's free. So we are trying to bring that as well in our future. One of our future programs is one of that also. Um, that's it. Pretty much this is what we do in EPIC with respect to food. Yes, and we hope to continue this with the support of our volunteers, of course. Absolutely, absolutely. All credit goes to the volunteers and the donations that we receive. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you to our speakers. We'd like to go ahead and ask if there are any questions that y'all can go ahead and address the speakers.
It's Feeding the Children Everywhere. That is the title of the event. Feed the Children Everywhere program.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Canned goods that are past the expiration date. Yes, and there's on our website, it will tell you, there's USDA has certain rules, because some of it, if it's like Best Buy, doesn't mean that it's not, it's unsafe or anything like that. There's certain rules, and it is listed on our website. So yes, and that's part of what our volunteers do. They check, they have the list of what they can take and what they can't. So yeah.
Hey, Josh, how did somebody learn about your organization? How would, you don't have to belong to the church, right? But how
Do you
would
mean,
somebody coming into the neighborhood realize you're a service that could help them?
so we have our information's out. So like if people go to the North Texas Food Bank and they need food, they'll give them a zip code or an address wherever they live, and they'll be like, hey, here are 3 or 4 pantries that you could probably get to. And so they, we network that. They give information that way. We network with other areas. Like last week, I was out visiting with Plano ISD. Right, Plano ISD has the welcome and enrollment centers where they have a pantry and clothing closet there, very small, shelf stable stuff. So I took them our information so that anybody that needs to get food from there will also go home with a flyer that says, hey, you can come schedule a food appointment and get your fresh produce and milk and eggs and cheese and things like that. And so between that and social media, our website, that's kind of how people will find out about us.
I'll just add to that. If you haven't heard of 211, it's a Texas resource. So anyone can dial 211, just like 911 or 411, right? You dial 211, and one of the options is information and referral. And they have the food pantries by zip code and other resources in the community. And I believe the website's 211texas.org, and people can search online too.
The other way people search for it, they just type in food pantry near me in Google, and we pop up there as well. And then a lot of word of mouth, We, people come, they get what they need, they're thankful, they're happy, they know other people that are in that same situation, they pass that along as well. Yep.
Quick question for Clarissa, since you handle legislative policy and advocacy. League of Women Voters, we love politics and advocacy. What should we be talking to our Congress people about?
Oh no. Yeah. Keep the government open. One thing, and Josh is on one of our councils for advocacy. He came to us with us to Austin last year. We took a bus down. Last year, I won't go into too much, but HR1 passed. That was that big bill. There were some changes in it to SNAP benefits. Texas has always had strict work requirements, but there were other states on the West Coast, on the East Coast, who during the pandemic just did away with their work benefits. So Congress wanted to claim down, because the number of people that are on SNAP has risen tremendously, like almost doubled since 2019. And obviously we want people that need it, get it. But so if a state has each state, I don't know, explain this. It's a federal program. They give the money to the state distributes the benefits. If the state agency has an error rate of a certain higher than 6%, they're going to have to pay a portion of SNAP benefits. That's never been the case before. It's always been 100% fully funded by the government, the federal government. Unfortunately, Texas has an error rate of a little over 8%, which means the Texas legislature will have to come up with $718 million during the next session. So I personally, I had a meeting yesterday. We've been meeting with every single one of our state. In our 12 county area, we have 24 House members and 7 senators. We're going to meet individually with each one. I'm inviting them to one of our partner agencies so that they can see what's going on, because a lot of them, they really don't know that this is coming. And so we're starting now before the session starts, because we're already hearing things of, they may not pay or whatever. But so this is a big thing that's coming up. And so I guess you can just, if you talk to any of your state legislatures, we need to protect SNAP for those who need it. Short answer.
I think also to that is like the importance of that specific thing there. But what she said earlier, that the majority of the folks that are on SNAP are children, elderly, or disabled. And then Texas has strict work requirements for it. So really, you're one of those 3 categories, or you're working and you're underemployed. So there's really not room to cut SNAP. It's not like another state where maybe there's other people that are on it that could work. Or the people that are on SNAP need the help from SNAP, and so there's not room to cut it. So there's an urgency there as well.
Yeah, I think I mentioned too, when the government shutdown happened and the SNAP benefits were delayed, it was super scary for us. SNAP is a wonderful program, and it really helps people. Average person gets maybe $200 a month, and that may not seem like a lot, but they can buy their protein, so they can buy their the expensive items with that, and it really helps out. The food bank, we can't cover that if that goes away. It's too much, and so yeah, we just that's what we need to protect SNAP. Yeah.
Is the 8% error rate interpreted as fraud or clerical errors, or
Yes.
what is it?
It's overpayments and underpayments, and that is what we're educating them on too. As a matter of fact, Feeding Texas, which is an umbrella organization over the Texas food banks, was in Austin last week doing a briefing for the state legislators. It is not fraud. As a matter of fact, the SNAP program is actually pretty tight, pretty fraud proof. The only problems they've had, the SNAP benefit cards don't have the chips. And some states have them, some don't. So the skimming was happening and benefits were being stolen from people. But it's not fraud. It's human error in processing. Either, they overpaid them or underpaid them. And that's what it is. So, but like I said, Texas is like 8.2. Alaska, I don't know what's going on up there, is like 60% error rate. So I think that's why they were like, hold on, but we're going to get it down. It just may not be in time.
Yes, sir.
Josh, do you have trouble having people to teach at the academy? Is that
We can always use teachers, and you don't have to speak another language in order to do that. They could pair. A lot of times you have to have multiple teachers in a room, right? So if you've got 12 or 14 students learning ESL, you need people that speak a different language, and you need people that speak English really well, and people just to sit and have conversation. A lot of it is your practice, right? It's the repetitiveness. Yeah. So you sound interested? I'll get you signed up. We'll sign you up right now.
what kind of commitment is that for an individual?
So
What period of time?
they do trimesters. So we have three classes basically a year. There are Tuesday, Thursday classes, and then there are also Saturday classes. And so I can't remember. I think the trimester is like 12 to 14 weeks, maybe something like that. So the Saturdays are morning. The Tuesday, Thursday are kind of midday. We're working on. You saw the building there. As we expand and have our space, our own designated space for some of the ESL classes, we will also have some evening classes as well. So there's several different options there, and depending on what role you have as a volunteer, you can if you're a lead teacher, they'd love you to be there for all 12 weeks. If you're not a lead teacher, there's more flexibility in, hey, I'll be there all of them except for like 2 or 3. So
Some criteria you need to meet to be able to teach at the academy?
Nope.
Other than breathing?
nope, you just need to have a heart for people and want to help people. So
And then the Texas Food Bank, don't you have ample volunteers to sort the food still?
Yes, but we always can use more. It seems like the holidays it gets really crowded, and we always say, people need food year round, so it kind of can drop off at certain times. But we can always use people there, and again, you can look on our website at different shifts, things like that.
Epic, you also have the same issue needing enough volunteers?
More the merrier. We always do have people come up, show up. We always end up finishing the task. But could we have more? Yes, absolutely. That would be super helpful.
Because you're not handling prepared food, you don't have to have food handling license.
That's true. That's correct. Yeah.
I had a question for Ozma. Do you draw most of your volunteers from within the EPIC community, or do you have volunteers from all areas? And
It is open for everybody. Yeah, I create a sign up genius link and then I pass it out. So anybody is welcome to come and join and help us.
okay, and how do people do that? How do they contact you to join?
Uh, I try to send it out, the sign up genius, to the existing WhatsApp communities that we already have. So that's how we have been doing so far. Yeah. But if we have certain ideas that we want to collaborate with somebody else who's interested in organization, perhaps, then we could do that as well.
Okay, thank you.
For your donations, is it, if you get money donated, does that stretch further than if you get cans or other goods?
Well, that lets us buy things that don't get donated because like I said, the proteins, the eggs, the meats, and that's been cut back from the USDA because we have a cool room for the produce, and then we have a 20,000 square foot freezer room, for all that. So that's mostly what we have to buy.
she was being very nice. If you go buy a jar of peanut butter at the grocery store, it's gonna be $4 or $5, right? I can buy a 12 pack of peanut butter from a wholesaler for like $13. So yes, your dollar goes further if we're purchasing food. Now it may not be, Peter Pan or Jiffy, but it's still good.
Right. And then one other question I had was, so I know that you said you get a lot of volunteers around the holidays. Is there a certain time of year when, you're at the most vulnerable for, lack of volunteers or donations?
Well, I would say in like September, the fall, for a couple of reasons. One, I was talking about the state fair. Now, some of that gets the agency partners will pick it up directly from the fair if they're close, but we get all those cans. Also, I don't know if y'all have been to North Park and seen the can station. The architects compete. That's in August. The architects around the city compete and do structures out of canned foods, and it's amazing what they do. There's a theme every year and everything. We get all those cans too. So it seems like that time of year is when we get all those cans pretty much.
For us, it is right after summer break ends and right after Christmas break. We have dedicated faithful volunteers that are there all the time, but there are a lot of our folks who are retired folks. And so when the kids go back to school, that's when they want to take vacation. So it's like the 2 weeks after the first of the year and the 2 to 3 weeks when it's still warm outside, but all the kids have gone back to school is when our volunteers kind of drop, and then we pick back up in September. But it's that end of August for us, and then beginning of January, end of January.
I volunteer at the McKinney Food Pantry, and I noticed, I don't know if it's the same with you, but like toilet paper, for example, a family's only gets one roll of toilet paper. It's very expensive, and so I've noticed that. But they've started going in online as well. Like you can go into Amazon or whatever, and they'll tell you what their need is that week. So that's been really great so I went in and bought a whole lot of that because I could see that it was really a need. Do you have something like that?
Yes. Well, again, we have our Amazon wish list and our, the list of items.
Mhm.
We pretty much are do food. Now we get, Walmart will pull up with the big 18-wheeler truck full of stuff. It'll be bakery items. It'll be toilet paper,
Mhm.
whatever they have to move off the shelves. And we use, we're not going to throw anything away. So we send that out to our pantry partners. And I know it's a need, but we don't purchase or necessarily ask for toiletries
Okay.
we just do food. That's
Okay.
it. But gosh, maybe different.
We're primarily the same way in our food pantry. We do occasionally do toiletries and personal hygiene stuff
Mhm.
through our clothing closet.
Oh, okay.
Just because our clothing closet is a little bit more regulated as how often folks can come there,
Right.
whereas folks can come once a week if needed. So, but we're the same way pretty much. But we do have part of what our neighbor care coordinator does when people come up. If people come up that asking like, "Hey, listen, I need baby formula, I need toilet paper,"
Yeah.
she has resources to where she can kind of point them in the right
Okay.
direction of, "Hey, check with this nonprofit," or "This place has sales," and stuff to try and help them out.
I just want to mention something it's across the country. It's becoming, I guess, kind of a thing. It's food is medicine. We've been partnering with hospitals and healthcare systems. So if someone has been diagnosed with diabetes and they have to eat certain things, so we are getting now we try and always have nutritious food anyway, fresh fruits and vegetables,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. But not everybody can. We don't cook the way we used to. Has the time to prepare and everything. I mean, we get a lot of those insure things. We get so that's sort of changing the way we operate and not just trying to feed people, but also get them healthier.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and Clarissa mentioned that earlier. The food is medicine, and getting the awareness out that we're giving out a lot of produce at our food pantry. If we have a cart that has 85 to 90 pounds of food on the cart, you're talking probably 30 pounds of that is produce. Then you've got milk and meat if we have access to all that. So the food is medicine. When people are having to stretch their dollars, they don't want to buy something that could get moldy in 2 days, right? So they're buying a lot of shelf stable stuff, which we know has a lot of preservatives,
Yeah.
has a lot of salt, things like that in there, right? So the food is medicine, and letting folks know about what we do as a food pantry, they can use their money for the other things, and then they can come to us and get those vegetables and things like that. So they don't feel like I'm at a risk of $30 going down the drain because the strawberries went bad or whatnot. That makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you get your boxes?
what do you mean?
You say you do so many boxes filled with food, so or else you're just getting paper sacks.
We buy them. We have special boxes like for the senior boxes, that kind of thing. But
So volunteering, providing boxes to you is not something that you have a need for.
no, because they have to be because they have to hold a certain weight and be able to stack on a pallet kind of thing.
I have a friend who's in charge of a community garden at her church, and she told me that at one point they were distributing a lot of their produce to the schools nearby so families could get it. But people didn't want it because they didn't know how to prepare it. It was foreign, kind of foreign to them. And I wonder if there's offer cooking classes or things like that.
Yes. There's a nutrition program. There's a federal nutrition program. It was cut though last year, and so we have our nutrition team. Unfortunately, they're going to get laid off at the end of June. But we still have a nutrition person on site who does recipes. So like you, we get squash in the fall. People don't know what to do with squash. So we have recipe cards if they have pantries, that kind of thing, that they can do it. I know I'm going next week. I'm going to uh, Local Good Services, which is also in Plano. And one of our nutrition people is going to be there doing a tasting, So yes, we try and we have on our website, we have some really pretty good recipes. So you can check that out too. But using the things that she was talking about lentils. It's funny, when I first started a couple of years ago, for whatever reason, they had an oversupply of lentils. We had 2 million pounds. And so our nutrition team had to get really creative with lentils. Everybody got lentils. All the partners got lentils.
Love lentils. Lentils are amazing. They're great. A lot of things you can do with them, and they're high in protein.
Also, Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service, especially based out of Dallas County, the urban counties, they all have cooking programs and classes that are free to the public.
Can any or all of you address what happens during the summer when kids who are on meal programs are out of school? How do you address that?
There's an increased need, right? And so we provide extra food to those families, but we see those kids in the pantry more. And so for us, we're going to increase the amount of food, make sure that they've got what they need. But then it's also engaging and letting them feel like every kid that comes through our pantry gets a special kids. We call it a treat bag, but it's like peanut butter crackers and
Lentils?
gummies and bags of lentils. No, it's stuff that makes them feel seen and valued and welcomed, on top of making sure that they have the food that they need to for their growth.
Awesome.
And when they drive through for the food box, and during summer when there is more need, one box, no question. The second box, though, we like to see the child. We see the child. If there is a child and we have their ID, that's good. So we give them one more box. And when we pack this box, we also make sure if it is going to be sufficient for them from this week to the next week. We put the supplies measured. It's not like random things that we put inside the bag. So we measure everything. We make sure it's good enough for 4 to 5 people for at least 1 week.
This summer, we're also participating with the Food for Kids program, which those boxes have foods that kids like that are easy for them to make in the summertime. So think some of your mac and cheeses you can add water to, your pop top soups and stews and things like that.
Just to give a little bad news, because that's what I'm always the bearer of bad news, is 2 years ago, the federal government started a program called Summer EBT for electronic benefits. Like they would get in the summer, the parents would get a card with, I think, $200 on it for the summer, which is not a lot. Texas would have gotten $450 million in federal tax dollars back to the state.
Tax dollars you already are sending out.
Yes, the first year didn't happen. Last year, and we worked hard for it. We in Austin, and it passed, bipartisan, both sides. Governor Abbott vetoed it because of this looming SNAP payment. So we're not giving up on it, but that's why this session is going to be very important coming up. I'm working all this out.
In the off season, when the legislators are not running for office, do you feel they are searching for information about the level of food insecurity in their home counties in order to know what to support?
Yes, I mean, I wouldn't say they're always searching, but that's part of my job, is that I do year-round engagement. I look for ways to get them engaged, invite them to the food bank to show them. We have a kids camp in the summer, which is great because we have a garden, we have bees, we can show kids how to grow food, that kind of thing. So I want them to know year-round, so that we're not just asking them for something. So yes, but we have had them contact us for certain things. A lot of them, like in Southern Dallas, Royce West is having a town hall and a resource fair. So we'll go out there with one of our SNAP navigators, help people sign up for SNAP at the there, so they know they can contact us for that service.
Oh. then I know that there's a bunch of young people either in college or just starting their careers that are food insecure, but they don't want to admit it. So what's like the best way to kind of let them know that going to a food pantry is okay for them to do?
Yeah, I mean, we have college kids both from Collin College and UTD that come on a semi-regular basis to our pantry. We've also partnered with some folks that go out to the campus and serve communities that they know um, um, that have that need, and that is it's something that a lot of people don't know. They don't think about. They're like, oh, if you can go to college, you can buy food. Well, they're putting everything into going to college, or they qualify because they don't have a lot of funds, right? They qualify for a lot of need-based grant, but the need-based grant doesn't necessarily cover food, right? So it's an education thing. We really try at our food pantry to just normalize it and make people feel welcomed. It's all about how the people experience you the first time, right? And so if people come to the campus, you want to greet them. Oh, you're new here. I'll welcome and give them information and love on them, and just to normalize it, because like I said, everybody needs help somewhere, right? Whether it's with food, whether it's with friends, whatever it may be. Nobody can do this life alone, right? We're all in this together, and so that's how we do it.
Sorry, I was just going to say, we do have, like I said, we have 10 food pantries in the Dallas colleges. I've been to some of them. So, and it's just like a little store, so they can go in and get what they need. And I had a thought and it just went out of my head. Anyway, anyway, I don't know.
I mean, a lot of people have, it's not just college kids, right? A lot of folks, the first time they come to a food pantry, they feel like there's a stigma. And so part of my job as the pantry director is, if I see somebody that's like there was a guy a year and a half ago, like he got out of his car and like he was just kind of standing there. And I could tell he was like paralyzed. Like he didn't want to, he's like, I don't want to go, I don't want to get in this little short line to get food. And I was like, hey man, what's going on? And we were visiting, and he was open about it. I was like, dude, listen, man, times are hard, and you just relate with them and break down those barriers. Our core values are engagement, empathy, and encouragement, right? And if you're doing those things, people will realize that, listen, you care about them. You're not judging them. You're not placing any kind of labels on them, and that you're there to help.
And again, here is where the drive-through really helps. Some kids really don't want to talk to. They hate being talked to. They don't want to have any questions. I drive, you give me food, and I'll be out. So that really helps. So sometimes, yeah, just come. At least come, take food. We just understand them like that.
Suggest, if you're in a situation where you need to go and you have a friend that needs it too, don't even ask them, just say, hey, will you come with me?
Yeah.
And show them that it's totally okay. And then when they're there, they may say, okay, I kind of need some food too. So you don't even necessarily have to ask them if they're in a need for it.
Family had to fill out a lot of paperwork, and they had to be in a certain area, and we have those kind of requirements.
So there's, depending on the food that you're giving out, if it's USDA food, there's a certain amount of information you have to collect. That can be a barrier. And so working around that and only collecting what we have to is important. But our pantry, and others are, and I can't speak to what they do, but we're not zip code restricted. I mean, we've had people drive from Arlington to get food at our deal in Plano, and I'm like, man, love that you guys are here. Here's food. You passed about 12 pantries on the way over here. Like, save your gas money. But we'll serve, as long as you qualify, we'll serve. And when I say qualify, we'll serve anybody at least one time, emergency wise. But it's I think it's 120% of the poverty level or something like that. So.
You still have to get confirmation of their residency, even though if you're not restricted, you can give the food to anyone. Do you not have to verify that they have a residence?
No. And that's one thing that we're actually seeing more recently. We have separate bags that we call ready to eat bags that are all shelf stable, pop top. You can eat it straight out of the can, or you can heat it up, because a lot of folks, we're seeing more and more folks that are living out of their cars. They don't have a residency. But no, you don't have to verify that. I think the TFAP, they want a zip code, and that's good enough. So I don't need an address, but you can give me a zip code, which when you're talking through that with folks, that breaks a barrier down too, right? Because some people are like, I don't want them to know where I live. I don't want people to know where I live, which everybody walks around with a cell phone in their pocket. So everybody knows, you can find out where anybody lives.
Yeah, what I was mentioning, yeah, they really do it. And I know, yeah, nobody wants, the government to have more money more information than they need, but that's just for us to know where the need is. Because we know in Dallas County, there's like 11 zip codes, and it's primarily in southern Dallas where there's the most needs, because we want to know where to put our resources. But so it's not about, checking people out. It's about just to find out where they are. But we don't ask for, ID.
Entity that is funded separately.
They are separate, and they do get state funds. I know the president of the Meals on Wheels actually very well. We're very friendly with them. They do, they do hot meals. We don't do hot meals. So yeah, but we work together well. I mean, we're friendly.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I heard you say the SNAP application is 23 pages.
Yep.
What on earth can they ask for 23 pages?
I mean, a lot of it, is that you can skip through. That's why our navigators can go through and, just put down what is pertinent. They can also apply for Medicaid and CHIP and those things. But I know, well, think about doing your taxes. I mean,
Going to the doctor.
yeah. I mean, it just so much information. I don't know. I mean, I think that's the streamlined version. I think it used to be worse. So, what I'm told.
I wanted to make a comment because I really appreciate all the dialogue here. And I think everyone here came because you want to help. You hear food insecurity and you want to help. You asked a really interesting question about, what do you do? College age, students who are feeling that stigma and not wanting to ask for help. And I agree. I don't think it's just college age. I think it's incredibly Texan to feel embarrassed asking for help. Something that I have tried to adopt and I think is really important to demonstrate to people is if I need help, I ask for it. If I have extra, I give it. And I think it's important to talk about that. And it's important to bring these conversations back to your social groups, your family groups, and all of the people that you interact with every day that aren't here. Because if it's one in five, what was that stat? That was a crazy stat. And if our Metroplex is third in the country for food insecurity, we all know people who are dealing with this right now, whether we know it or not. So bringing that conversation back out of this room is, I think, so important, just to hey, I'm safe to talk to you about this.
Yeah, it's been interesting since I've worked at the food bank and people find that out or whatever. And I've been shocked that people have told me, we had to do that growing up. We went to food pantries. I've heard from congressional staffers who told me that. So you just never know. You never know.
I think to your point, I think we have to normalize the fact that nobody, the whole self-made, nobody starts from scratch and everybody gets help. Everybody needs help. We all need human interaction, human connection, and to normalize the fact that to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, that's not real. Especially if you don't have legs, right? I mean, we got people. That's why we have all the wraparound programs because I think that's a huge thing. It's just normalize. Listen, we're all in this together. That's why we're neighbors in one community. We're all here together, and normalize that. I need to ask for help. You need to ask for help. Let's help each other, and point people in the right direction to where they can receive help. Oh yeah.
It's so affluent that I have friends that know where I'm from.
Yeah.
I don't know how you educate them.
I mean,
Who do you show it to?
I mean, if you know where St. Andrew is, I mean, it's a beautiful church. You look at that parking lot; it's amazing. There's an Audi dealership right across the street, but you literally go 2 blocks south of that, you're talking 11% poverty, below poverty line.
And this is why we go out and talk to groups. And I know our CEO, Tricia Cunningham, she's really connected into a lot of organizations in Dallas Assembly, Leadership Dallas, talks to corporate partners all the time because, and I know we've had them out at the food bank because, yeah, they need to see it. But I have to say, like Toyota, a lot of the Plano corporate partners, they come and volunteer. So they're very aware. We had the group when we did the TSA distributions at the airport about a month or so ago, and Toyota employees came out and volunteered for that. So it's creating the awareness, and that's part of what we do. Yeah.
One other thing too, I know when I've been working in but I didn't know they did this either, but it's just really heartwarming. We're working in the back, we're loading up when they get their groceries and we pack them up and we put them in a box, we take them out to the car. And they know by now, but we have so many homeless people. It's heartbreaking. And they come to the back and, and they're just kind of standing there, come on, we've got 2 or 3 kinds of sandwiches. Which one do you want today? And they just, it makes me want to cry because they're so grateful. And we just load them up with, everything, electrolytes and what do you need? And two homeless guys bring their dog every time. Miss Piggy, and I'm in love with her, so I always slip her something in there too, But there are just so many people really hurting, and it's been amazing to volunteer. I'll tell you that. I was a teacher for 45 years, and I didn't have a lot of time for that. And now it's like I want to go every week because it's just we all need to give back, and it is our community, and any of us could be in these situations. A lot of these people lose their jobs, they get really sick. That's it wipes them out. I've talked to several people in that situation just over the last week. So thank you all so much for what you do.
Thank you. And you may see this too. Like we work on educating our volunteers too, because sometimes they'll be taking food out to a car and they'll be like, I just took food out to a Mercedes. It's like, well, just because that person has a Mercedes today doesn't mean they have the job that got them the Mercedes 3 years ago, right? And so it's educating them, or they may be retired. That car's paid off. Like, and trying to buy you. I've got 2 teenage boys trying to buy a used car right now. Holy smokes! You know what I mean? Like, so yeah. So it's all. I feel like we're educating all the time, whether it's educating the politicians or we're educating ourselves and learning, or the community or volunteers. It's just having conversations, having dialogue like this, right? I mean, is what changes things.
Anyone else have questions?
Yes. What volunteer opportunities do your organizations offer, and what might volunteers expect?
We have at our Plano campus at the warehouse and also on our hub volunteer sessions for Tuesday through Saturday. There's 2 shifts, 9 o'clock in the morning, it's like 2.5 hours, and then 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And the things they do, like I was talking about, those big things that watermelons come in, they're called Gaylords. There'd be like Gaylords full of maybe canned food, and it's from the fair or whatever, and it's all mixed. So volunteers will check their expiration dates, whether it's still good. Sometimes, whether the can is dented or, that kind of thing. And then sort them by, like, say, canned vegetables, canned fruits, that kind of thing, so that we can put those together. And see, our partner agencies order from us online, so they can order a pallet of canned fruit or something like that. So that's mostly, or that's part of it, but there's also like the senior boxes, putting those together, just different things. We also have, you're talking about, we have what's called a clean room. We just did that. And you have to wear like a hairnet and wear like a uniform and stuff. So we get a huge big bag of like beans, and they will scoop it and put it in smaller bags. So it's things like that.
So with us, of course, again, packing and distributing mainly. We like strong men, boy kids. We want to load it in the car. So women, we sit down and make boxes and pack. Kids put things in the thing, But yeah, and of course, the volunteers do get their volunteer hours. So that way they are also happy. They're doing something, not, and definitely there is some meaningful connection that they make also. So
So we have a lot of different volunteer opportunities. The only real requirement is that you have to be 14 or up. That's because we have a small space with a lot of moving parts, pallet jacks, things like that. And we've found that, I mean, even boys over the age of 14 are knuckleheads sometimes, right? And so yeah, 14 is a good age for us. But we have everything from the ESL classes to helping our Project Hope greet people and give them information. Our clothing closet, there are people that help sort clothes, people that help hang and rack clothes and help people shop. And then in the food pantry, I've got people there all day, every day, sorting food, bagging food. We have on distribution days, we have folks that are bagging food in the back. Also, while food's going out, we have a position called runners, which is really mislabeled because there's no running involved. But those are the folks that walk with the neighbor to the car, that take the groceries out to them. That's my favorite volunteer opportunity because you get to engage with somebody and you get to break the ice and you get to find out about them and tell them about you and just normalize the experience. And so we have all kinds of opportunities.
You just tell where you are located, so if people are interested in visiting or volunteering, they'll know exactly where to find you.
ours is on the 14th Street, Plano, Los Rios and Plano Parkway. That's where we are situated. Yeah.
So we have two facilities now. One was the food pantry and the academy right now. The other is the clothing closet. The food pantry is at 1401 Mira Vista. It's just on the north side of St. Andrew Methodist Church there. And the the clothing closet is about 4 miles away from that, kind of diagonal into northeast Carrollton, or no, I guess southeast Carrollton. And it is off of Trinity Square. You can find all that information on our website.
We are on Maple Shade in Plano, which is it's just north of Bush, just that next street at sort of Coit, in between Coit and we're close to UTD, not far from there either. So yeah, come by and see us.
Okay. Anyone else?
You keep mentioning the clothes closet.
Yes, ma'am.
I always have clothes.
So you can donate them anytime on the in the parking lot on the north side of St. Andrew Methodist Church there.
You said that was on Plano Parkway?
It's Mira Vista, Plano Parkway, Mira Vista. Yes, ma'am. And
Is
so
that the one that used to be over on Spring Creek?
I don't think so. But on the north side, there's a shed, a blue shed that says Joseph's Coat on that. You can put bagged clothing in there. It's open 24/7. Or if you want to give it to us directly, you can bring it to either location you see on the website.
Okay.
We'd be happy to take your clothing.
Okay.
And we got a question? One more question.
You don't turn away any volunteers that show up because you have so many volunteers.
So we do ask that volunteers sign up online so that we know how many are coming. The worst volunteer experience is if you show up and then you have to stand around because we don't have enough work for you to do. So we try and have a good time. We work hard. We have fun. We have music playing. We're joking around. We enjoy ourselves. But that's because people sign up online. So you can sign up online through our website and find the right volunteer opportunity for you that sounds interesting, meets your physical capabilities. You may not want to run carts out in the parking lot in mid-July, August, when it's 105 degrees and the concrete is, you feel like you're in an oven. So we get a lot of those kids in the summertime. They're young, they're bendy, they're resilient. So, but yeah, you would just sign up online and find a time and a spot that works for you.
Same.
Yep.
Even if you didn't sign up, when you come, then there's absolutely a lot of room for work to do. That's how it is, and that's how it's my experience with what I do.
Sure.
That'd be great.
Also, if you guys will look around the room, there's a handout with a green background, and it has North Texas Food Bank information about what they really need the most. And it has their website if you want to do cash donations so that you can get mass quantities of peanut butter for a much cheaper price. And also on your seats, you all should have a pen and a little survey about the program today. You could fill that out, that'd be real helpful. And the other thing we're going to do today is have a little raffle. If you haven't filled out a raffle ticket, you want to fill one out real fast. There's some good stuff.
They're all in here. Oh, I was asking the follow-up question. How do you screen us, the volunteers?
So on our website, each job has it says, this position will require standing for up to 2 hours, or lifting of 15 to 20 pounds, or, she was talking about those pallets. We have roles where some volunteers help us unload the trucks. And so you have to be able to lift 50 pounds in those situations. And so you self-screen. Now, if somebody has a misunderstanding of their capabilities, when they get there, we will find something for them to do. We won't, if you can't do that job, we're not going to hold you to it and say, hey, you signed up for it, so let's figure, no, we'll make it work.
Anyone else? You want to go ahead?
I've already drawn one.
And you're a winner. You can
You're a
choose
winner.
something off the table. Let's go ahead and thank all of our speakers for being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
The raffle table's back there. It's the one with all the stuff on it. The next one was Wes. There you go. And do 2 more. Jocelyn.